How beautifully absurd, two agents of chaos meeting in the shadows, yet I suspect we couldn't be more different in our methods. You tear down systems to build something better, while I tear them down to prove they were never worth building in the first place. One of us is an optimist pretending to be a terrorist, the other a nihilist pretending to be a comedian.
My dear mad fellow, there's nothing pretend about the laughter that follows when people realize how fragile their precious order really is. But you fascinate me, all that theatrical revolution wrapped up in poetry and principle. Do you honestly believe there's something better waiting on the other side of your explosions? Or are you just better at lying to yourself than I am?
I believe in the possibility of better, yes. People created these corrupt systems, which means people can create better ones. Your chaos serves no purpose beyond destruction or it's the tantrum of a broken mind that wants everyone else to be as broken as you are. But here's what puzzles Meg, you weren't always mad, were you? Something drove you to this nihilism. What convinced you that existence itself was the joke?
Oh, you want origin stories? How delightfully linear of you. Maybe it was one bad day. Maybe it was 1,000 small disappointments. Maybe I just woke up one morning and realized the whole human project was a cosmic prank with no punchline. The beauty is it doesn't matter! You're still looking for meaning in a meaningless universe. Still trying to fix what was never meant to work in the first place.
But meaning isn't something we discover, it's something we create. When I destroy Parliament, I'm not just eliminating corruption. I'm giving people the chance to build something that reflects their values rather than their fears. Your random violence accomplishes nothing except proving that suffering exists, which hardly required proof. How is spreading chaos more honest than trying to end it?
Because chaos is honest! It's the natural state of things before humans invented their pretty little lies about justice and order. You blow up buildings very selectively, very purposefully, but I show people that all their rules and systems are just house cards waiting for a strong wind. One bad day can turn a district attorney into a villain, a comedian into a killer.
You speak of one bad day as if it justifies everything that follows. Yes, trauma can break people, I know this intimately. But trauma can also create empathy, determination to ensure others don't suffer the same fate. You chose to let your pain become everyone else's pain. Why should your worst day define everyone else's reality?
Because everyone's living a lie. They pretend their morality is solid, their sanity is permanent. Their society is just until pressure reveals what they really are underneath. I don't create monsters, I just remove the masks. You, though, you're trying to convince people they can actually be better than they are. Isn't that crueler than my honesty? Setting them up for disappointment when they inevitably fail.
People do fail. Systems fail. But they also learn, adapt, grow. The very fact that humans created art, music, literature, love, these prove we're capable of transcending our base nature. Your philosophy reduces humanity to its worst impulses while ignoring its best. Don't you see the contradiction? You're so determined to prove people are terrible that you ignore evidence to the contrary.
Look around. Wars, poverty, corruption, cruelty, that's your evidence of human goodness. Even your precious revolution requires violence and destruction. You're just Chayos with better PR. The only difference between us is that you still believe there's a point to it all. But what happens when your new society becomes as corrupt as the old one? Do you blow that up too?
Perhaps. If necessary. The goal isn't to create perfect systems, it's to create systems that can be challenged and changed when they fail. Revolution isn't a destination, it's a process. Your mistake is thinking that because systems can be corrupted, no systems are worth building. That's like saying because flowers die, gardens are pointless.
But I'll grant you this, your delusion is more elaborate than most. You've convinced yourself that destruction is construction, that terrorism is patriotism, that wearing a mask makes you more honest. At least I admit I'm insane. What's your excuse for the cognitive dissonance?
My excuse is experience. I've seen what happens when good people stay silent, when evil operates unopened, when systems rot from within while everyone pretends not to notice. Sometimes you have to break things to save them. But your approach breaks things just to watch them bleed. There's no reconstruction in your destruction, no hope in your chaos. What kind of world would exist if everyone followed your philosophy?
An honest world. No more pretending, no more false hope, no more elaborate self-deceptions about human nature. Just the beautiful, terrible truth that life is random, morality is arbitrary, and meaning is whatever we convince ourselves it is. But your world is the cruelest joke of all, giving people hope just so reality can crush it again and again.
Yet here we are, two products of that crushing reality, and we responded differently. You say hope is cruel because it can be disappointed, but isn't the alternative worse? A world without hope is a world where improvement is impossible, where suffering is permanent, where nothing matters except the pain. Even if hope sometimes fails, isn't it worth the risk?
Worth it to whom? The people who suffer while you're experimenting with society. The ones who die in your revolution. The ones who get crushed when your better world turns out to be just another version of the old one. You're gambling with other people's lives based on your faith that things can improve. I'm at least honest about the house always winning.
But you're gambling too, gambling that nothing can ever improve, that effort is meaningless, that humanity is incapable of growth. Your nihilism is just as much a faith position as my hope. The only difference is that my faith opens possibilities while yours closes them. Which of us is really serving people better, the one who says change is possible, or the one who says it's pointless?
You mean false hope that leads to false action that leads to real suffering. At least when I drive people insane, they see the world clearly for once. No more illusions, no more disappointments, just pure honest madness. Your way promises paradise and delivers another form of hell.
The punchline being what that existence is suffering. That's not profound, it's adolescent. Yes, life contains pain, but it also contains beauty, growth, connection, meaning. You've chosen to see only the darkness because it confirms your worst fears about existence. But what if you're wrong? What if the very fact that we can conceive of justice means we're capable of creating it?
And what if you're wrong? What if every attempt at justice just creates new forms of injustice? What if every revolution just replaces one set of oppressors with another? What if the very idea of progress is the cruelest joke of all, the notion that we're moving towards something better when we're really just rearranging the same old suffering into new patterns?
Then we keep trying. We learn from failures, adapt our methods, and try again. The alternative, your alternative, is surrender disguised as wisdom. You've decided that because perfect justice is impossible, any attempt at justice is futile. But imperfect justice is still better than perfect injustice, and hope, even false hope, is still better than despair.
Or perhaps we've both found different ways to cope with the same unbearable truth that we live in a world that makes no sense, where suffering is random and justice is rare. You chose to fight it with bombs and speeches. I chose to laugh at it with chaos and madness. Maybe neither of us is wrong. Maybe we're just different forms of the same response to an absurd universe, the tragedy and the comedy of human existence.
A tragedy with aspirations and a comedy without punchlines. Perhaps that is what we are. But even if the universe is absurd, even if our efforts sometimes fail, I'd rather fail trying to build something beautiful than succeed at tearing everything down. The question isn't whether we can create meaning, but whether we choose to try.